When did you see it and where?
Oh, many years ago, right here at the southwest end of Loch Ness at Fort Augustus.
What was it like?
Oh, very like a swan, long neck, small head, and one big hump about 30 feet long.
This is the bizarre story of how AC/DC's Brian Johnson went drunkenly hunting for the Loch Ness Monster. Let's face it, rock and roll has its fair share of hellraisers. From Keith Moon, Ozzy Osbourne and Keith Richards, the history books of rock and roll are littered with people who push the boundaries of respectable behaviour. And sonically, AC/DC have always embodied this world. Simply put, they love the party driven by music, letting go to the sounds of rock and roll and having a laugh while doing it, and that was particularly the case when the new frontman Brian Johnson joined the outfit. Bon Scott had seen something in Johnson when AC/DC crossed paths with the Geordie on a tour of the UK and proclaimed to the rest of the band that he was perhaps the greatest vocalist in the world, which the other members took on board and recalled when they were tasked with finding the right person to eventually fill his shoes. But more than any other rock star they might have met on tour, Johnson was the one who was most up for having a laugh. Through wild antics both on and off stage, the group surged into this brave and bold new era of rock, led by Brian Johnson, and with it came a series of wacky tales and one of the most bizarre stories in rock and roll history. And perhaps the best of them all was when Brian Johnson was found hunting for the Loch Ness Monster. Recalling his time stalking mythical creatures with the late Malcolm Young, Johnson fondly remembered, "We both had these Land Rovers and we'd taken them for a trip round Scotland. Malcolm loved his fireworks and he'd taken a big box with him. One night we were 4 sheets to the wind and staying at this hotel right on the side of the loch. Mal just said, 'Come on, let's go and find the Loch Ness Monster. I've got fireworks and it might attract it.' He continued, 'There we were, going straight into the water in our shoes up to our knees and it was freezing. Mal had a drink in one hand, a box of fireworks in the other and was trying to set fire to the loch. We were just howling. By the time we got back to our wives, we had straw in our hair and we were covered in mud. What a night,' he concluded." He further reflected on the story saying, "It was just nights like that when you just thought how daft and fun was that. That was Malcolm with his fireworks. It was just hilarious. Well, at least I laughed." But ultimately, it was that essence, that simple tenet of holding laughter and fun dear that made AC/DC one of the premier outfits of the era. As Brian Johnson explained, "I'm an out-and-out basic man and AC/DC are one of the best rock and roll bands in the world, doing things just to the basics."